They say silence is peaceful. But when it comes from your own father, silence isn't peace. It's punishment. For 3 years, I lived with nothing but the echo of a phone that never rang. 3 years where every success I achieved felt incomplete, because the one man I wanted to hear from had erased me with his quiet. And then, out of nowhere, it arrived. A crisp white envelope, waiting on my coffee table like a ghost I thought I'd buried. My father's name was written across the front in familiar loops. My chest tightened, every beat of my heart hammering like it was trying to break free. Hope and dread tangled inside me until I could hardly breathe and I reached for it with trembling hands. But before I could tear it open, a sharp voice sliced through the air. Wait! It was my grandfather, Victor Hale, the billionaire with ice in his veins and steel in his gaze. He wasn't supposed to be there. He rarely visited my apartment, but tonight he stood by the window, watching me with suspicion burning in his eyes. Don't open that. Not yet, he said. Look closer. I froze. His tone wasn't a suggestion, it was a command. My excitement curdled into unease as I examined the envelope again. The paper was too fine, expensive, the ink too delicate. My father's handwriting, imperfect, heavy, tilted slightly from the wrist he broke as a boy, was missing. The script was flawless, beautiful, and wrong. My throat went dry. It's from him, I whispered, clinging to the fragile hope. It has his old P.O. box. He remembers me. Victor's gaze softened for half a second, then hardened again. Of course he remembers you, but this, he tapped the envelope. This isn't his hand. This is an imitation. The words hit harder than any slap. Still, I tore it open, because a part of me was desperate to be wrong. Inside was a single sheet, coldly typed and a warmth. No apology. No, I miss you. Just, dearest Evelyn, I desperately need your help. My accounts are frozen. If you don't wire $50,000 to this number, I will lose everything. Please don't call. I'm sorry. The bottom. In perfect forged script. Your loving father. My stomach twisted. My knees went weak. It wasn't a letter, it was a weapon. Someone had taken my deepest wound and sharpened it into a blade. Victor read it once and handed it back. It's a scam. Precise one. They know your story. They know about the silence. And he was right. This wasn't random. This was personal. My mind spun. Who would know enough to use my father against me? Who hated me enough to carve into that scar? Then the answer struck like lightning. Celeste, my father's ex-wife. A woman with a talent for lies and a taste for destruction. She despised me for stealing my father's love, and she had always wanted control of his fortune. I clenched my fists. She thinks she can bleed us dry. She thinks she's untouchable. Victor's eyes narrowed with a predatory calm I'd only ever seen in boardrooms. Then we set a trap. And we did. Using a burner phone, I replied to the number in the letter, pretending to be desperate. I offered a small amount in cash first, on one condition: we'd meet in person. The bait was taken. The next day, at a quiet cafe downtown, I sat at a table with my pulse thundering in my ears. Across the room, Victor watched like a hawk, blending into the crowd. And then, she walked in. Celeste, dressed head to toe in designer armor, smiling with syrupy sweetness. Evelyn, darling, she purred. It's so good to see you. Your father is in such a bad way. I leaned forward, voice steady as stone. Cut the act. I know it wasn't him. The handwriting, the crypto wallet, the lies. It's all you. Her smile flickered, then hardened into venom. You abandoned him, she hissed. I was the one there when he needed someone. No, I said, my voice rising with years of pent-up fury. You weren't there. You were feeding off him like a parasite. And now you tried to use me. Her mask cracked. She tried to bolt. But two plainclothes officers Victor had called and stepped forward, blocking her path. Celeste Morgan, one said, you're under arrest for fraud. The cafe went silent as she was dragged out, her shrieks of denial echoing like a warning. And yet, even as she disappeared, triumph didn't feel like victory. The real enemy hadn't been Celeste. It had been the silence. Later that night, I stood at my father's doorstep for the first time in 3 years. The roses in the garden were still trimmed, but the house looked tired. And when he opened the door, so did he. His shoulders sagged, his eyes hollow, his voice barely a whisper. "Evelyn!" My heart cracked. He looked smaller, broken. "Dad," I said, my voice trembling, "we need to talk." At first, he tried to push me away, too ashamed, too lost. But when I told him Celeste had been arrested, that she had stolen everything, the dam broke. He collapsed into my arms, sobbing like a child. "She took it all," he wept. "The house, the business, the savings. She used me. She used us." I held him, my own tears falling. And in that moment, 3 years of anger dissolved into something stronger. Love. We spent hours talking, really talking. Apologies spilled, regrets confessed, truths finally spoken aloud. The silence that had separated us was gone, replaced with something raw, painful, but real. As dawn broke through the curtains, I realized the cruel truth. It had taken a lie to expose the truth. It had taken a scam to bring us face to face again. We had lost money. We had lost years. But in the ruins, we found each other. And this time, I swore the silence would never win again.